broke, and they've got the same right as you do or I do to lead lives of dignity and of respect. But you know who is sending the country broke? That's right, your mates in the Liberal Party who've got together with Labor to spend hundreds of billions of dollars on AUKUS nuclear submarines that we'll probably never see. And you know what else they're doing together? They're refusing to make gas corporations pay their fair share of tax, and they're also refusing to make rich landlord pricks like you pay your fair share of tax. So my message to you, Husey, is this. Firstly, get absolutely fucked. Secondly, stop punching down on disabled people. And thirdly, stop spreading misinformation and maybe actually write a few funny jokes while you're at it. I'll tell you this, the Greens will never apologise for being in solidarity with disabled people, and we are going to keep fighting until they get the support and the dignity they deserve.
His wife and your wife have the same name, Frank's wife and your wife?
What are you, a detective?
Rete Italia! Qui batte il cuore italiano.
Yeah, that was Green Senator Nick McKim in that video that you've just watched. And I apologise for the swearing. I mean, it is 2026, I guess, and we're all adults, but he is a senator and he's speaking in a public forum, so I don't think he should be using language like that. But nonetheless, let me tell you about Senator Nick McKim, Green Senator. He's 61 years old and he thinks that shouting moral outrage is a substitute for confronting the truth. Now, he's raged at comedian Dave Hughes for daring to raise NDIS rorting, accusing Hughes of punching down on disabled people, as if pointing out systematic waste is somehow an attack on the vulnerable. It isn't. It's an attack on the people and the providers who are milking a scheme that was originally built for dignity but is now, sadly, being exploited. I know the rorting is real because I've seen it close up. From the driver's seat of my car when I was doing some Uber driving recently. That is why I love Uber driving, because you learn so much about what's really going on out there. I recently, a couple of months ago, picked up a case manager in Northcote. She was flying to Brisbane for 7 days because her Melbourne private NDIS company, private company in the NDIS system that she worked for, that company had won the tender to look after a man who had recently had a stroke. Her job, she told me, was to hire 8 staff to provide the man 24 hours, 7-day-a-week care. Now, the initial cost, she told me, was going to be $800,000 a year to look after this poor man who had had a stroke. Now, when I asked her, as we drove out to the airport, why someone from Brisbane couldn't do the job, she said her company in Melbourne won the contract. So that's how loose the NDIS system is. Flying a Melbourne worker interstate for a week is considered normal business practice. How much profit was in that tender that they could afford to do that? And they actually beat a company in Brisbane who obviously tendered higher. This is taxpayers' money. And this is the scheme that David Hughes is talking about. I have another case. This was a woman who ran a tiny NDIS business. I picked her up. She was from Somalia, from memory. And I asked her what she did, which is what I normally do. And she said, I run an NDIS company. And she told me what she does. She has 2 clients. With those 2 clients, she does 52 hours of work a week. For that, in the week prior to when I spoke to her, she said she earned $3,500 a week. When I expressed disbelief, she showed me her bank account. She had earned $67 an hour working in the NDIS from Monday to Friday. And she told me that on a Sunday, if she worked on a Sunday, she earned $134 an hour. Now, when do you think she wanted to do most of her work? I'll give you a guess. Sunday, when she earned $134 an hour. Now, was she a nurse? No. She took clients to coffee, shopping, medical appointments, and outings. This isn't fraud. It's a system designed so badly that ordinary community access work is billed like specialist healthcare, and politicians like Green Senator Nick McKim pretend this is all fine. And in a third case, I recently picked up a young woman in Melbourne in the CBD from Perth. She was in Melbourne for 10 days, travelling with a young autistic man who she said she supported. She told me her parents, or his parents rather, the parents of the autistic boy, receive $100,000 a year for his needs, and they use that money to pay for her. What are they doing in Melbourne, I said. And she told me they flew over together, the autistic boy and her, for 10 days, staying at a nice hotel to teach the young man how to be independent. Wow, I said. Where else have you travelled? Bali, Margaret River south of Perth, and now Melbourne. She said the parents of the young man often spend up big at the end of the financial year because if the money they've been allocated hasn't been spent, then the next year they'll get less. And she admitted to me when I asked her that it is a rort, that the young man's parents know how to play the system. Let me tell you all about the NDIS. When it was set up under Julia Gillard, the government projected that it would cost $13.5 billion a year. That figure has now blown out to more than $50 billion a year, and increasing rapidly every year. This is not about disabled people going without care. It's about a system so loose, so poorly policed, and so easily scammed that billions of dollars can vanish before genuine participants even see their support. And here's the part that shows Senator Nick McKim, the Green Senator from Tasmania, is a real piece of work. He publicly attacked comedian Dave Hughes, who started life poor and, because of his skills as a comedian, has built a reasonable property portfolio. He was funny, so people went to see him. They paid their tickets and he made money, and he bought these properties. He was entertaining. Senator McKim called him a greedy landlord because he owned a few properties. But it's now been revealed the senator himself owns 4 properties, according to the register of interest that he has to put down for the Parliament. Dave Hughes is not punching down. What he's doing is punching through the fog of bullshit. He is pointing out a scheme that is being exploited left, right and centre. Taxes are high because this government is spending too much. It's spending $200 billion a year more than when it came to office in 2022, spending it on things like the NDIS. Capital gains and negative gearing changes have been made by this government because the budget is under pressure. And one of the biggest pressure points is the NDIS. Not because disabled people cost too much, but because the system is being milked dry by people who know how to play it. If Senator Nick McKim wants to defend disabled Australians, he should start by defending the integrity of the scheme that supports them, not by attacking anyone who dares to tell the truth. Dave Hughes told the truth. The rorting is real. The waste is real. And pretending otherwise is not compassion, it's negligence. Green Senator Nick McKim from Tasmania, it is not Dave Hughes who is the prick in this situation. It is you. Daniele, can we play that video again so people can see this gentleman, Senator Nick McKim, and what he said on X in the last day or so?
This time, so Dave Hughes has been in my comments again, this time spouting absolute rubbish about the NDIS. Let's get a couple of things straight here, Hughesy. Firstly, disabled people are absolutely not sending the country broke, and they've got the same right as you do or I do to lead lives of dignity and of respect. But you know who is sending the country broke? That's right, your mates in the Liberal Party who've got together with Labor to spend hundreds of billions of dollars on AUKUS nuclear submarines that we'll probably never see. And you know what else they're doing together? They're refusing to make gas corporations pay their fair share of tax, and they're also refusing to make rich landlord pricks like you pay your fair share of tax. So my message to you, Hughesy, is this. Firstly, get absolutely fucked. Secondly, stop punching down on disabled people. And thirdly, stop spreading misinformation and maybe actually write a few funny jokes while you're at it. I'll tell you this, the Greens will never apologise for being in solidarity with disabled people, and we are going to keep fighting until they get the support and the dignity they deserve.
His wife and your wife have the same name, Frank's wife and your wife?
Senator Nick McKim from Tasmania. Let's have a look at what else is happening around the country. In Perth, the city is bracing for dangerous weather front, with forecasters warning of wild winds and heavy surf hitting the coast this afternoon. Emergency crews are on standby. Motorists are being urged to avoid coastal roads as the conditions rapidly deteriorate. In the Midwest of Western Australia, police are investigating a fatal crash at Geraldton that killed a teenage driver and left a man critically injured. Officers say the car lost control before impact, with locals describing the scene as devastating. In Brisbane, the City Council is cracking down on covert filming at public pools, banning AI-enabled smart glasses and giving lifeguards the power to eject anyone recording without consent. The Mayor says swimmers deserve to feel safe. Sydney shark attack survivor Leah Stewart has spoken publicly for the first time since being mauled at Coogee Beach, saying she's been given a second chance at life after months of surgeries and recovery. Meantime, community donations have topped $500,000. Victoria Police here have raided 6 Melbourne properties, including the CFMEU headquarters, as part of a corrupt drug trafficking probe. 5 men were arrested. Officers seized vehicles, electronics and documents. Meantime, the state government has signed off on Melton East, a huge new suburb in the city's west, with 12,000 homes and 7 schools planned to house more than 36,000 people. The other story that's been making news in Melbourne today is this secret public transport levy, which emerged only this morning. Have a listen to this. The levy is a 1% charge that has been built into the Victorian public transport fares system since the 1st of January 2025. The government did not tell anybody about this. It's only just been publicly exposed by the Victorian Auditor General in a report released today. Now, what it is an extra 1% on public transport fares on top of the normal annual fare increase linked to inflation. The government did not identify the 1% as a separate levy when announcing the fare increases in 2025 or in 2026. The Auditor General says the government and Transport Victoria did not acknowledge it. It applies to public transport fares across Victoria. Now, this is where it gets interesting. The Auditor General says the government plans to allocate 60% of the revenue from the levy to the suburban rail loop, with that share estimated to be $4.8 billion over a period of time. The report says this makes the levy the largest source of value capture revenue for the suburban rail loop. Now, why was it kept secret? The levy was actually approved in August 2021, when Ben Carroll, the current Premier, was Public Transport Minister. It was subsequently confirmed in 2023 and 2024 and began being collected in 2025. But when passengers were told their fares were increasing, the government did not tell them that part of the increase was this new levy. That is not on. That is not on. Victorians need to know when they are paying increases exactly how they're being charged and how they're being allocated. Daniele Margarelli, let's take a break and then we'll come back with our first guest. You're listening to Drive Australia-wide.
Have always been real. Now after all this time, tell me, can't you feel? My feelings for you have always been real. Now after all this time, tell me, can't you feel? Tell me, can't you feel? Tell me, can't you feel? Tell me, can't you? Tell me, can't you? Tell me, can't you feel? Now with love, the one on me, the one you are.
Welcome back, bentornati qui a Rete Italia. Questo venerdì mattina. I can hear my phone going crazy there. Now, our first... Cosa venerdì pomeriggio? What do you... Non è venerdì mattina. It's what's today? Wednesday. Mercoledì in pomeriggio. Good afternoon, everybody. Now, our next guest is a lady who I saw on the weekend because she was performing her show Blondes Have More Fun here in Melbourne, and she was magnificent. She was a pocket rocket doing all sorts of things, dancing and doing sort of, just difficult gymnastic moves with this circle of ring that she had. Her name is Liz Tester. Liz, good afternoon to you.
Hi, Tony. How are you?
Are you back in Sydney?
I am.
Well, I just got to say that you were magnificent. I really was surprised at just how energetic you were, what a wonderful entertaining you were, and how you just throw 100%, or more than 100%, 150% into your performance. And I think the audience really loved it as well.
Thanks, Tony. Yes, don't like to do anything halfway. It's always full out or nothing.
Well, that's a good way to be. Now, the reason we're talking to you today is that I wasn't aware of the backstory to you, and that is that your beautiful mum passed away, I think, earlier this year from pancreatic cancer.
It's about just under, on the 29th, it'll be 3 months.
So it's still pretty raw. How are you handling all of that?
Look, it goes up and down. I think that the Melbourne show was the second show I've done since she passed away. The first one was at Port Macquarie, which was only 5 weeks after she passed, so that was hard. This one was difficult as well. It's more so just I go into work mode, and it keeps me going because I'm a lot like her, as in we just go and get it done. And I think after the show, that's when my body and my brain just kind of melts down a bit, going, I wish she was here. I know she's here, but she was always front row center, standing ovation, and she was a driving force behind the show too. So, doing okay as best as we can do.
Yes, well, I'm not surprised to hear that she was the driving force, because I'm tipping she would have been your biggest supporter in the world.
Yeah, she has been since I was very little. So, yeah.
How long was she ill for?
2.5 years.
And am I right, she had pancreatic cancer?
She did.
That's one of the worst cancers, I guess. But 2.5 years, she did well.
She did. She was very blessed to get that much time out of it, because, I didn't even know what pancreatic cancer was before she got it. And Mum worked in the medical field in clinical research and trials, so she knew too much about everything. So she liked to shelter us a lot, my sister and I. And basically, when we finally were looking up on it, because she wouldn't really tell us everything, my sister and I looked at each other and went, this isn't no cancer is good to have. We went, this is a bad one. She could be gone really fast. But, she was lucky she caught it early, and she knew the right people, and she really pushed to get seen. And a week after, she, went in, had the Whipple's procedure, and then was on treatments and everything. So she was lucky to get as long as she did. And I think she ended up getting pneumonia, which is what I think got her in the end, because she was in hospital for 6 weeks towards the end, and kept having complications with her liver and things. Then she got pneumonia, and so we're hoping she would have gotten onto a trial in September, October, but she didn't make it there. But surprisingly,
Lisa,
she did well.
I might get Daniele, our panel operator here, interrupt him from eating his muffin. He's eating a muffin at the moment. Daniele, can you put the photographs that I sent you regarding Liz and her mum up on, so we can see what your mum was like? Photographs of you and your family. Do you remember the day, Liz, that she told you that she was unwell?
Yeah. Because Mum used to go away for work a lot. So she'd been in, I think, Melbourne. She'd been in Melbourne the week before. And sorry if you can hear little footsteps. We've got dogs around the house, and Mum's dog's 16, and she just paces backwards and forwards and backwards and forwards. She's a bit lost. I think.
Yes.
So sorry if you hear little footprints.
No, that's all right. We can't hear anything.
Okay, good. I remember being at home, and she wasn't answering our phone calls, and I said to my sister, have you spoken to Mum? Like, she always calls back, and I was like, what's going on with her the last few days? It was really bizarre. I went, something's not right. And my sister's going, I don't know, they're hiding something. I said, no, it's probably nothing. Like, she's just working. She goes, I don't know, it's weird. And then I finally got hold of her. She sounded like she was in a bathroom. I was like, where are you? She goes, I'm just in the city for a work function. And I was like, okay. And then Dad called us all around and said, oh, are you coming round tonight? And I was like, well, I wasn't going to. He said, oh, okay, well, come round with Carla, like your sister. She's going to come round after dinner, and we'll just have a coffee and dessert. And I was like, my dad, very awkward, and went, that's weird. So as soon as that happened, and he said, all right, and we said, what's going on, Dad? He goes, oh, we're just going to get Mum up on Messenger video. And then I was like, what's going on? And yeah, I remember being on video with her, and she was in hospital, and we're like, what are you doing? And she turned around, she said, she goes, I know we've been hiding her, but she said, I'm in hospital. I've had tests and stuff done. And she told us, I have pancreatic cancer. And it was pretty shocking, because it's something you think that you go, it doesn't happen. It wouldn't happen to us, wouldn't happen to me. And because we, thank goodness, have no history of cancer on Mum's side of the family. So it's not like it was genetic or anything. So it was a big shock. And Mum was always, never smoked, never drank, never did drugs. And she never even had surgery. And she had one of the biggest procedures that you could ever get in your life when having this procedure done. So it was very, very big shock. And she'd only just retired. And Mum was always workaholic. She worked 24/7, loved her work, loved her job. And she'd retired, and 2 weeks later this all happened. So obviously she looked and said her retirement was going to look very different than what they thought it would be. So I'm just, I'm glad that her and Dad did get at least 2.5 years out of that. It wasn't, what they thought, but, mum really made the most out of everything. And if you knew her and you saw her somewhere, you wouldn't have even thought she was sick. Besides, there was one point there where she was looking sick, but she was always up dancing, came to all of the events. She was always the life of the party still. She was still that. You just wouldn't know. People go, I thought she was getting better. And then we said she passed away. I thought she was getting better. I go, she looks fine and she's very, like high-spirited and that, but yeah, we knew the day was going to come.
Now, your mum's name was Maddie. We saw some photographs there. I assume that's your immediate family, your dad, you've
Yes.
got a sister, and I saw a young man there. Is that your brother?
No, that's my sister's husband.
Oh, okay, right. So there's two girls
Yeah.
and the two parents.
Yeah. And my sister just had a baby actually 5 weeks ago. So
your mum
that's
did not
our-
live to see her grandchild.
No, that's what we were hoping, that she'd be able to push through and get to see the first grandchild, but she didn't. But there's definitely, he looks like her, and she's definitely in him. I'll tell you that. Like, he was born at 31 weeks, so very, very early, and he's, touch wood, not had any complications besides needing, all of his he's in NICU, but he's really progressed so quickly when they thought he was going to even need a breathing apparatus, for 2 weeks, and he's doing really well. So, he's definitely got mum's strength. And I thought, you know what, maybe she was meant to go beforehand to look after him. Plus my mum's mum, my nonna, passed away 11 weeks before mum did. So we lost both of them.
We're seeing a photograph now. That's your sister, your mum, and your dad.
Yeah, my dad and my brother-in-law.
Right. Where did the testers come from in Italy?
So the testers, my dad's, we're mainly from Sicily. So dad started completely from Sicily in Cerami, a little town called Cerami, which is in the Provincia Enna. And my mum's mum, she's a Castorina, and she was from Fondacamota, which is right near Montecamastra on the way up to Etna. And my mum's dad is a Decola, and he was a Decola, and he was from Trisugno, near like Le Marche.
Le Marche, right. That's not far from where we come from. And that's your mum there. She was born in 1964, so she was, 62 when she passed away?
62. Yeah, she was 62.
That is way too young. Well, the reason I wanted to talk to you was twofold. Firstly, to make people aware of pancreatic cancer. And also, you've made it, you've committed yourself to raise some money in that area. So let's talk about, first of all, the symptoms. Did you sort of acquaint yourself with the whole thing as your mum was going through it, or did you not want to know about that?
Yeah, well, the thing is, she didn't tell us. Like, she sheltered us a lot because she knew so much. And it wasn't until I actually partnered with PanKind, the Pancreatic Cancer Foundation, that when I was listening to her talk in these interviews, and mum also wrote a life story book that I don't know if I was meant to read it. I did tell her a few weeks before she passed, I said, oh, I saw you wrote a story, Mum. She goes, yeah, one day you and Carla can read it. I said, I already have. I was like, I took it home and read it one day without telling you. And she'd written it all out in there. And I went, oh my gosh, she didn't tell us half of that. So, sorry. Hey, you two, stop. So yeah, well, basically I've lost my train of thought now. These dogs, stop it. We've got 3 in the house because I'm looking after my sisters because she's in hospital with the baby. Anyway, so her symptoms were, apparently she had it felt like there was something stuck in her chest when she was down in Melbourne, and she was actually on Juniper, so a form of like Ozempic, and it actually saved her because she had lost a bit of weight for my sister's wedding, which was in October that year, whatever year that was, 2024, and this was in December 2024 when she got diagnosed, I believe. 24, 25, 26, no, I lied, 23. My maths is really bad. Whatever year it was, 2.5 years ago. So she went down to Melbourne and she had this pain, and she reached out to Juniper and said, I know you guys said just to say if something doesn't feel right. And so, she did. And they said, look, let's go and get a test done. It's been a while since you've had your diverticulitis test because, she had a bit of diverticulitis every year. And the doctor said, let's just get you checked. It's about time. And then they found a tumor in her pancreas, and the rest was history. But if she didn't listen to that, like her body, she never would have thought that. And a few months prior as well, she always used to complain about her shoulder. And she's like, oh, I've got this frozen shoulder. It's in my shoulder blade. It's really bad. And for months, she was going to see our chiropractor, my Asian herbal acupuncturist. And surprisingly, he even said, he goes, this isn't coming from your shoulder. There's something in your stomach. But he never knew what it was, which was really fascinating. He picked it, that there was something else going on. It wasn't in her shoulder. So yeah, pain between the left shoulder blade there. She had that early sign there apparently, which is quite scary because it's an everyday type symptom. Like you said, I do my circus and my aerials. My shoulders are always sore.
Well,
my back's always
I've
sore.
got a sore shoulder at the moment, Liz, so I know exactly what that's like.
Yeah. So it wasn't budging and going away. And then apparently light coloured stools that are floating, that's a really common symptom as well. And that was the thing. So it's all these everyday symptoms, everyday like symptoms that you don't really think of. But she really wanted people to become aware of what the symptoms were. And that's what she said to me. She said, it's not even about the funds, Liz. She said, I just don't want people to have to go through what me and my family have been going through, and leaving my girls and my unborn grandson. And it was so hard watching her because my mum was such a tough woman, just like my nonna. And I only really saw her cry a couple of times, and she said, I'm really scared of dying. Like, she'd never been scared. Like, I've never seen my mum scared of everything, and that used to break my heart when she'd go, I'm really scared. And yeah, so she just said, Liz, I want you to just get that awareness out there, because everyone knows, like, as you go along, if you're looking for breast cancer, you feel for lumps, and you've got the bowel test, you've got, that the test they send you in the mail. But for pancreatic cancer, there isn't really anything. So she said it's more so creating that awareness, which is why we then built it in with the show. So I went, you know what, if this is a legacy I can give mum to bring it out to people, eventually, hopefully the show will get bigger, and I'm filling places with 500, 600, 700 plus people. Imagine every single time her video comes up at the start, all these people are then becoming aware of this cancer. And what's really opened my eyes is, because I'd never heard of it, like I said, every time I've done a show, I've done 5 shows now, I've had at least probably 3 people, whether it be someone from the venue, someone that's come to the show, or just, anyone there. Someone has come up to me and said, oh, I've lost either a family member, my mother, my friend of pancreatic cancer. And I just went, it is crazily, like, so common, but people aren't around for long enough to do anything about it.
Yeah.
There is no cure.
Well,
There's nothing.
I lost a friend with pancreatic cancer only about 3 months ago. So it's sort of
so sorry.
It hit me as well. So your mum knew that you were going to do these shows, and that part of the show was going to be her story and the raising of the money?
Yeah, originally it wasn't. But then when I did my first show, she said something in her little testimonial, and she was like, Liz, I've seen you perform from a young age and watching you do this and do rehearsals. Like, it just made her, it really hit me differently. And I went, she was such a big driving force behind this. Without her, this wouldn't have happened. Her and my dad helped me with this show and all of it, and she wanted to be at all the rehearsals, and she saw it. She goes, I knew it was going to be amazing, but this was just next level. And I have John St. Peter's to thank for that as well. And she always loved John when she was younger too, and she'd say, oh, I love John. And and it wasn't till the second show was in February, and I said to Mum, I think I want to try and help raise funds, because what happened was she kept getting rejected from trials. And I said to Mum, like, I don't understand why you can't get on a trial. She said, Liz, there's not enough money in trials, and a lot of it comes from like, all the research comes from donations and things like that, like, and all that funding. So she said that's the problem. There's not enough space in these trials. And I think she applied for a good, like, five or six different trials, and the one that she should have gotten on, which was in October, they had one that was potentially had availability in March, or was it April? It was sometime, I think, the end of March. but they didn't have space for her in Sydney.
Right.
They had space in Melbourne, and our friend, like, she knew all the good people in that industry, and they really pushed to try and get her onto that trial, but they didn't have space for her because there's not enough funding. And if there was space, she could have gotten on that trial, and that could have kept her here till then. And that's the problem,
right.
you know.
Right. Liz, the charity or the fundraising group is called Pankind.
Pankind, yes.
Pankind. How do people get in touch? How do people donate?
So to donate to mums in particular, I think the easiest way to find it, I would say, is you can go to the Pankind website, but the way, hang on, let me just look. If there's a way you can post the link, Tony, that might be a way to do it. Otherwise, if you type in Pankind Maddie Tester, it will come up. Otherwise, if you do go to blondestheshow.com and you click on the little tab that says Pankind, that's another way you can get to it if you can't find the direct link.
The easiest way, I guess, is to Google Maddie Tester, and all of that information will come up. Liz, you're a gorgeous young lady. I'm sure your mum would be very proud of you. I hope to see you again, and I hope to see you go on to bigger and greater things, because you're a beautiful young lady and because you've got this beautiful cause that you're working on. So thank you very much.
Thank you. I'd like to thank you and everyone that, supports as well. And, like I said, I think I mentioned to you whenever we last spoke, we've raised $13,000 plus since she passed as well. So thank you to everyone. It is getting somewhere. So I appreciate all the support that you yourself and everyone has given as well.
Excellent.
So thank you.
That's Liz Tester in Sydney. And Maddie Tester is the name you need to Google. Daniele, let's take a break and then we'll come back with more. You're listening to Drive Australia-wide. Not only are you listening to it, but you are watching it as well. I think Daniele's done something with the lighting here. I look better today. I look like I've been in the sun. I've got a suntan. What? Daniele's been in a...
I said, you looking little bit older.
Older? Signore, I must tell you, Daniele's been in a bad mood today. I came in because he was working hard. He was on his own. Gregorio's not here. He was under pressure, and I could just... When you're in a bad mood, I know, Daniele, I know. Just keep away from Daniele.
Yes.
Let's take a break and come back with more. Welcome back. Bentornati qui a Rete Italia. You're with Antonio, and Daniele is behind the glass there. We're now going to cross to the suburbs of Melbourne. Our next guest is in his office. That was a magnificent office that he had too. John Baresi is his name. There he is. Let me put my glasses on. This TV is a long way away. You look like the King of Sicily there, John Baresi. That's what you look like.
Thank you, mate. How are you?
I'm okay. What have you been up to this week? What has caught your attention?
Actually, there's a number of things that have caught my attention this week. Scrolling through social media can be a bit daunting at the moment. It used to be a lot of fun. There's a lot of things that I'm seeing that I'm not really happy about, and I don't think a lot of people are happy about either. I was scrolling through and I found on the Institute of Public Affairs, our ex-treasurer, Mr. Peter Costello, and he was normally what you'd get is when you've got the opposition party talking about the government, they're always picking on them and trying to get a few points, if you know what I mean. Although this time round, I think he actually scored 100 out of 100. I'll quote a couple of things that Peter Costello said from the Institute of Public Affairs luncheon. He was talking about the Institute, the Labor Party has been in power in Victoria for 12 years. We talked last week about the data centres and how they collate all the data and information. That's very powerful because it gives you an insight into what you can and can't do with that data. Well, if you look at the data that the Labor Party has been accumulating over the last 12 years in Victoria and nationally, it's quite scary. We had the Liberal Party, when they lost their power, nationally, we had a $515 billion deficit. So in other words, over the 200 years of Australia's existence, after that, we've had $515 billion worth of debt. Now, in the last 4 years that the Labor Party has been in, we have doubled that figure in 4 years. So it's taken us 200 years to get to that point, and the Labor Party's been able to do it and double it in 4 years. I think that's really sad. And to make it even worse, when we look at what the Victorian government has done, prior to them coming in, we had $20 or $21 billion state deficit. Now the Labor Party has been in for some 12 years. We have increased that to 780% to over $155 billion.
Yeah, that is the debt that we have in Victoria, and the debt we have nationally is, if it's not hit $1 trillion, it's about to hit $1 trillion.
It's about to hit $1 trillion. Yeah. But the interesting thing is we've doubled the national debt in 4 years.
Yep.
Okay, that's taken us 200 years to get to, and yet they're still in power.
Well, yes, because we've got a very disarray, an opposition in total disarray. The thing with this government federally is, and people need to understand this, they are spending $200 billion more a year than when they came to power in 2022. Now, because they weren't collecting as much, because they hadn't made any changes to taxes yet, which they've now made, they had deficits every year, and that was increasing the debt. Now they've increased taxes, and it'll be enormous the amount of money they collect through these capital gains tax changes alone. Anybody who has a house that they don't live in, from the 1st of July next year, that house or that property will be valued, and no matter when you bought it, even if you bought it before capital gains tax came in, capital gains will apply to any gain from then on. Now, people like me, people like you, other people, we won't sell. So when we die, those taxes will be paid by our children. Money that we had planned to give them will now go to the government. And it's not like Kerry Packer when he said, it's not like they're spending it that well. I mean,
Correct.
I mentioned the NDIS earlier. the National Disability Insurance Scheme, John.
Yeah.
It was brought in by the Gillard government in 2013. It was meant to look after disabled people. Now, it was originally planned to cost $13 billion a year. The cost is now $50 billion and climbing. The oversight of it has been terrible. It's been watered left, right and centre. And
I had. Sorry, go on, Tony.
I was going to say, and poor disabled people who need the help, unless this gets fixed up, then people are going to say, we don't want to pay this at all.
Correct. And that means that the poor people who actually need it are going to be worse off than they were before. I've got a friend of mine who has shown me the invoices, and they keep double charging, and the prices that they are charging for some instances is ridiculous. Like he had they painted apparently one wall, patched up a little bit of plaster on the door, and just put in a few screws into the doors, and they charged them $11,000.
This is NDIS money, is it?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Now that seems to me extraordinary, and that it would be outright corruption and outright rorting. But John,
the problem is, Tony.
Go on.
The problem is, from what I've seen, is that the carers groups or whoever it is that manage this, they just send in an invoice. The people who receive it with the government who are paying, all they do is they just check, is that individual, do they have that amount of money in their account? Yes, paid. Don't worry about it, because the money's there.
Yeah, well, I mean, the way it works is, a disabled person or a person who needs help, he gets assessed by somebody. That person says, you're very badly disabled. You need this much money a year to survive.
Yeah.
Now, I mentioned the case of a gentleman who had a stroke in Brisbane. I've been doing a bit of Uber driving in the last couple of months, John, and it's the best thing I ever did. I picked up this lady, took her to the airport. She was going to Brisbane. She worked for an NDIS company. She'd said to me she was going to Brisbane because a man up there had a stroke and he needed 24-hour, 7-day-a-week care. And she was going to Brisbane to hire 8 people to look after him. I said, how much is that going to cost? She initially said $800,000 a year. Now, I feel sorry for the gentleman who had a stroke, but if Australians are paying that much money to people, and that's above board, then we can't sustain this. But it's the things like, I picked up another lady and she said, I take people to coffee, I take people to outings, I take people to shopping and all that sort of stuff. If she does it during the week, she gets $67 an hour. If she does it on a Sunday, have a guess how much she gets on a Sunday, John?
$180 an hour?
She gets $134 an hour, double time. Yeah. Now, the person she's caring for has been allocated a certain amount of money, and it's up to her how she spends it. But I don't think we've been looking at it closely enough, and obviously, because if you just see the raw figures, and it's gone from 13 billion to something like 50 billion, then we've got a problem. Because if it continues to grow like that, we're not going to be able to cover it. And the problem, John, is that once you give somebody something,
it's hard to take it back.
It's hard to take it back. So anyway, what else has been troubling you?
Well, again, for me, it's people need to wake up. They need to look at the data that's around at the moment. And you can't lie about the data. The data is what it is. You've got this state especially is turning into what I see as a communist state. The national government has now passed legislation through, I think, ASIO, which comes into effect. I think it's in effect now, I believe. That you can't. I'm concerned that this program is going to be shut down at some point because they're going to be saying, oh, well, the government doesn't like what we're saying because of, we're picking on the government, and, we might be one of those hate groups. You know what I mean?
Well, we'll see if they shut us down, John. One thing, you probably haven't caught up with this, but have a listen to this. This is in Victoria. This came out today. Now, the state government has, since the 1st of July, been putting a 1% charge on all public transport without telling anybody about it. And that 1%...
They won't tell anybody about it because no one would agree to it.
Of course. But, like in the past, a courageous government says, we've got to do this because of this. This is what it is. But we're getting to a point now where things are being done secretly that no one knows about for years. And then all of a sudden we find out about it.
But the thing there is, Tony, people have to keep remembering that the politicians are employed by us. We pay them. They can't go around making laws and putting in things in place that hurt us when we elected them.
Well, at the moment... Go on.
I was going to say, it's a bit like they can get away with doing whatever they like, yet we have to suffer the consequences. We keep paying for their mistakes, which is one of the things that happened that Peter Costello mentioned. Victoria was the only state in the country that was hit with a COVID levy for the damages that was caused by the incompetent government. No other state in Australia has a COVID levy, yet we have one for the next, I think, till 2033. We have one. Why? Because the government was incompetent?
Well, exactly.
Yes.
I don't know if you caught up, but I had Steve Bracks, former Premier, in the studio here the other day on Monday, and I asked him some questions. And first of all, would he have gone ahead with the suburban rail loop? His answer was no. His priority would have been airport rail from Tullamarine Airport. So what we have now, John Baresi, is we have this government has already spent, looks like, $9 billion on this suburban rail loop. And we're in a position where we can't go forward and we can't go back. I remember many years ago, my dad bought a brand new 245 Hemi Valiant, 1972 style. Do you remember those?
Ah, beautiful.
Homicide
with the push buttons.
Correct. Well, no, this didn't have push buttons from memory, but anyway, it was a brand new, beautiful white Valiant. We were at the banana plantation. He was trying to park the Valiant in the garage, and he got himself in a position where he was right up against the wall and it was scratching the car. He couldn't go forward and he couldn't go back without causing damage. And I always think about him and his car when I think about the suburban rail loop, because it looks like we're going to blow away $9 billion if we don't go ahead with it, but we're going to blow away even more money if we do go ahead with it, because it's not going to cost $35 billion.
Yeah, well, the problem there is that, the politicians, it's not their money. They can make the mistakes, and not only have we paid for the job that we never got, but we'll also pay for the incompetence of them doing the job. If I had a business and I ran the business the way that the government runs this country, I'd go broke, or I would have to sell my business. If I was, for argument's sake, if I was a company director and, I did some of the things that this government did during the COVID period and created the disaster that it did to the state, as a company director, the board would fire me. My business would close down. Yet, as a politician, nothing happens.
Well, nothing happens. Not only does nothing happen, John, but we've had the two previous premiers, Daniel Andrews, retire on $300,000 a year. And not only that, but for the last 3 or 4 years, he has been able to leverage his position because of his access to previous ministers that he was in charge of.
Yeah.
So he can do business in a way nobody else in Victoria
That's right.
can do.
Yeah, and the Prime Minister's just as bad because he's apparently on $650,000 a year, okay, and which is actually higher than the President of the United States. Just think about that. Look at the economy that Trump holds, and I think he's on 300,000 US. Here in Australia, with 29 million people, he's earning 650,000, and then when he retires or when he gets voted out, he'll still be on that for the rest of his life, and we're paying for it.
And the other thing,
where's
John,
the logic in that?
Yeah, well, and also, Albo and Jim Chalmers, they brought in these tax changes which have seen the property market dive. Now, how many government ministers were aware that that was going to happen, and how many of them have sold their rental properties?
Correct.
Because either it was going to be embarrassing when everyone found out they had 7 rental properties and everybody's now only allowed to have one house to live in.
That's right. Well, apparently, Albo sold his 4 properties prior to that announcement coming out.
Well, if he didn't know what was going to happen, no one does.
Yeah. So he sold everything out and got all the deductions and made all the profits without paying any tax, and that was fine. No problem with that. What about insider trading? I mean, if I did that in the stock market, the ASIC would be on the end of the phone saying, sorry.
Well, not at the end of the phone, John. There'd be a knock on the door at 4:00 in the morning, and they'd grab you out of your bed. They'd ring up the TV stations, and they'd have you marched out your front door. John Baresi, unfortunately, we've run out of time. I appreciate having another chat, and we'll have another good chat next week at this time. I look forward to see what else is
absolutely, and we'll have a few more things to talk about.
Excellent.
And can I just say before I go, Tony, sorry, if I could send a special cheerio to Helen and David Nolte, who aren't well at the moment. They're getting better, and I know that they listen to the program. They love you, Tony. I just say big hello to Helen and David and hope that they get well really soon.
Well, I do too, and I love anyone who loves the program, John. That's what we tell everybody we're on. Please subscribe. You can watch us on YouTube, but you really have to subscribe because the more subscribers we get, more people will watch. John, thank you very much for your time this afternoon.
Pleasure, Tony.
We're going to take a break now. We're halfway through our program. When we come back from the other side of the hour, I've got some very special guests that I'm looking forward to.
You're listening to Drive Australia-wide with Tony Tardio.
Good afternoon again. Yes, you are listening and watching Drive Australia-wide. That means we are going all around Australia. Just me and Daniele Magarelli. He's flying the aeroplane. I am the passenger in... would I be in first class, Daniele, or am I in terza class?
Io, magari.
No, you're the pilot.
I'm the pilot.
You're the pilot.
I put you on insieme alle valigie.
You put me in cargo. You would do that too, wouldn't you? You would put me Dove vanno gli animali? That's where you'd put me. I know what you
know.
like.
Perché tu sei pugliese e c'hai le braccia corte.
Will you stop saying that? People will think that about me. Now, can we go to our next guests who are Leeton? They should be there. Let me see where they are. Are they in their garden or are they in their house? We're going to cross to people called... There they are, the Happy Harvesters. Nick and Zena Rendina.
How are you today?
Oh, I'm okay. How are you guys going?
Yeah, we're pretty good, thank you.
Now,
Beautiful day here today. Lovely day. Beautiful, nearly spring.
What's the temperature up there in Leeton?
18 degrees.
Oh, that's lovely.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, lovely.
Now, you guys, Melbourne, I think it's about 15 or 16. It hasn't been too bad, but, you know, when the wind comes in Melbourne, it blows through you like sharp knives. No matter how many coats you put on, it still goes through those coats. It's so cold. Now, you guys look like a wonderful couple. Just as I was talking, Daniele puts the photograph up. You guys look like a wonderful couple. How long have you been married for?
We're nearly 55.
55?
54.
What is the secret to a long and happy marriage?
Patience. What would you say?
Jim, I would have said patience.
Pazienza. Now, where did you guys meet?
We met.
Yeah.
My wife will tell you that.
we met in Leeton. Nick came out to buy some potatoes, which my father was growing, and I was the only person home. He was very impressed with my Italian speaking. I came out from Italy when I was 8 and actually did 2 years Italian and had no one to practice with because, of course, at home we always talked in dialect and, in my case, Sicilian dialect. So Nick came out and I was practicing my Italian on him and was very impressed.
Yeah.
And how long, Nick, did it take you to sort of say, Zena, would you go out with me?
Well, the first attraction, it's like a light. That's the one.
A lightning bolt. What do they call it in Sicilian? It's a particular name for it.
In San Marquese, no lamp.
Now, Nick's let the cat out of the bag because Nick is from San Marco in Lamis, where my family comes from.
Sì, come ti ho detto prima, sono nato a San Marco, ma all'età di 6 anni siamo andati a abitare a Torre Maggiore.
Torre Maggiore. How many kilometres is there between San Marco in Lamis and Torre Maggiore?
They're probably about 30 kilometres.
Well, you're in the same area, aren't you? Like, it's not another country.
Torre Maggiore, provincia di Foggia.
And you went to school there too, Nick?
Fino all'età di 5 anni, o 6 anni. Ho fatto 5 anni di scuola elementare e 1 anno di scuole alte, primo avviamento.
What about English, Nick?
Oh.
Well, he slipped into the Italian. He thinks because he's talking to Italian radio and television, he's got to talk Italian.
Mi piace, lo
But
capisco.
Nick, if you want to talk Italian, you can talk because io capisco quando parlo così.
No, I speak English.
You speak English. So how old were you, Nick, when you came to Australia? Zena was 8. How old were you?
I was 24 years old.
Oh, so you'd done a fair bit of time in Italy, and did you follow your family, or did you come out as an adventure on your own?
I come as an adventure on my own.
And how did you find yourself in Leeton?
Well, in Leeton, I had one of my first cousin and a sister, the eldest sister of my father. So, in matter of fact, one of my brother is 2 years older than me. He's the one who's supposed to be in Australia. Then I went in the army. Then my brother, whatever, he changed. He found himself a girlfriend, and he completely forgot to be Australian. So when I finished the army, I went back home. I received a letter from a man from Leeton. So she said, "Your brother didn't come. What about you?" Well, I tell you, Don, something sparked me in the head just like that. And I said, yes. So I write back, yes, I am interested. And nobody could take me out of that decision out of my mind. All my family, no one believed that I went the guts to leave.
And you
Everyone.
came here. So you were 24. What year would that have been, Nick?
27 years old.
No,
When
what
you
year?
came out?
1969. 1969.
Oh, sorry.
1969. And so you guys met sometime after that. You said 54 years, so what are we looking at, 1973 or something?
71.
71.
I was just, I think it was a month before I turned 17, and we got married a year later when I turned 18.
Oh, geez, he must have liked you, Zena.
I liked him too.
Now, the reason we're talking to you guys because you are Instagram rock stars. You've started up this Instagram account called The Happy Harvester on Instagram, and now you've got, 160 or 180,000 followers?
185.
185. Nick knows the exact number there, Zena. So that's 2 MCGs. When you look at the MCG on Grand Final Day, multiply that by 2. That's how many people are watching what you put up on Instagram. When did you start this?
We started 2024, January. And the way we started, I was in a veggie garden. And we, like in the past, the kids always used to ask, Dad, why don't you write some recipe? One day, when we gone, we can follow your recipe or whatever. Anyway, one morning, my daughter lives not far from just nearly next door, and come over and said, Dad, we're going to do a video. I said, what video? I said, oh, no, it's good for the grandchildren, good for us, we learn something. Anyway, I said, what? I said, the slice of idea to at my age to do this.
It was all scruffy and dirty, and it made for a real life little video, and the grandchildren up north absolutely loved it. So our daughter Nadia, who does all the filming and the editing, she kept it up at their request, and within only a matter of a few months, it just went fast. I think we turned 100,000 within 3 months.
So your daughter put it on Instagram so that family members could see it interstate.
Right.
And then as a result of that, everybody else hooked onto it, and that's it. Well, you guys could make a lot of money with this. Have you thought about that?
It's all love a job.
We love what we do.
Well, not only does Nick show how to grow things, and you've got a beautiful. By the way, how big is your backyard? That's your backyard we're talking about.
Yes,
it's they actually called the farm. It's a little farm, 2 acres and a quarter.
And on that 2 acres, Zena, I'm tipping he's got everything everywhere, like he would every little patch of ground.
You should see it.
Well, we bought this block in 1980. And this block had never been empty. Never.
Since then.
Between the garlic and fruit, it never been empty.
So what do you grow, Nick? What do you grow?
He had a full-time job, and then this was his passion for the weekend.
Yeah. Because as a kid, I grew up in a farm in Italy, and I love nature, I love the soil, I love growing things, I love that stuff.
Loves working.
Well, he's a true San Marchese. That's what he is. It's in his blood. It's in his DNA. Now, Nick, what do you grow on that 2.5 acres there? Give us an idea.
Well, to tell you the truth, at the moment, we used to even grow light crops we used to grow in our block was a persimmons, kaki.
Ligagil. My dad used to sometimes say, "Is it common gagil?"
Not the soft one, the Japanese one they call a fuyu.
Yeah.
Hard.
You like them, do you?
Oh, we love it. But we used to, we had all Paraguay full. We used to send them, even in Canberra. And people, they used to love it to buy them. It's amazing the fruit comes in autumn and when there's not much fruit around.
So we cut down those trees and we've left only a few for family and friends. And amongst those fruit trees is lots of varieties, everything from peaches, nectarines, plums.
Yeah.
You name it, we've got every tree, including a mango tree lately.
Well, mangoes, yeah, because when we were in Coffs Harbour, we had mangoes, we had macadamia nuts. I'm not sure whether you can grow macadamia nuts where you are.
Too frosty.
What about avocado?
Yes, we got one tree.
And does that give you any fruit?
Yes.
It does.
You wouldn't have bananas. No way would you have bananas.
Bananas?
We had bananas, but the frost gets them.
The frost goes into the stool, and you don't get any banana fruit. But the plant will survive. Guys, on your Instagram page, for people who haven't seen it yet, it's called the Happy Harvester.
It's actually the Happy Harvesters table.
Oh, the Happy Harvesters table. So you show how you grow things, and then you pick it, and then you show how you cook the things you've grown.
Yeah,
Nick shows it.
Look, it's always been for years. I grow my own seeds. Any particular variety that I like grow my own seeds. Also, grow, plant them, and then when we have to, always
have to cook them.
It goes straight in the pot. It's so fresh.
You see, there'd be people in the city. Daniele, my panel operator, he wants some of the stuff that you grow. He's always looking for he's always got his hand out for something.
Stanno qui a Melbourne?
No, they're in Leeton. You know how far Leeton is? Leeton is on the 1,000 kilometres away.
No, Tony, it's only 480.
I'm just trying to tell him it's 1,000 so that he gets an idea. Do you guys ever come down to Melbourne?
Yes.
Yeah, not as much later, but years ago we used to be camping. Yeah. But now. I'm getting a bit older, travelling, and
it's a little harder. All our families in Melbourne, and our family that are interstate, when we fly out to them, we usually fly out from Melbourne. It's just easier because it's about 5 hours away, so it's not as far away as Sydney. Sydney's about 6 to 6.5.
Yeah, right. So we're a bit closer.
Yeah, it's closer.
You know what, guys? I would love to see you both go to Italy. And nice. Nick, I would love to see you walk down the Viale of San Marco in Lamas, or go to Torre Maggiore, and put all that up on your Instagram, because you got 185,000. You'll have 500,000 followers when you do that.
That would be lovely, but it might be a pipe dream there.
Oh, we don't know the future. Who knows what's going to happen?
Yeah.
Have people in Italy seen, because I know in Italy they're on Instagram, your relations in Italy, have they caught on to what you guys are doing?
No, it's, I think more Facebook.
They don't do Instagram so much. They do TikTok and Facebook. And we are on both, but mostly the comments that we get from them is from Facebook, believe it or not. So that's really unusual. And
I know that radio stations and TV stations have come knocking on your door to do something for them.
Not TV stations, no TVs.
No, well, radio, and you guys have always said no.
No.
Until I came along.
Yes.
And you've said yes, so I'm appreciative of that. And I hope, Nick and Sina, that we can talk maybe every week about what you're growing in your garden. Maybe send us some photographs. Not that you put on Instagram, but you might send us what you're doing and what you're cooking.
Okay.
Tony, I got to tell you something. Last week, actually, a few days ago, we cooked the milk thistle. You remember in San Marquez they call igagid.
Igagid. I've heard the name, but I don't know what they are. Well, I wasn't born there, Nick. I was another choir.
They're so good for you. We grow they're wild. They grow in the paddock.
Yeah.
And they're really good for you.
And what are they? Like a seed or something?
They're a milk thistle. In Australian, you would call them milk thistle, but they're not thorny like a thistle as such. They're supposed to be very healthy for you, and they grow in our paddock very happy here, so we eat them.
Yeah, my dad used to do the same thing. He used to go trawling around all of the empty blocks in Laylaw and Thomastown. And I go, Dad, just go to the shop and buy something, But he would get stuff.
You can't buy them in the
So
shop.
this milk is when you brag, they got a milk in. Soon you brag, they get a little bit of milk.
Yeah. And do you cook them or do you just eat them raw like that?
No, we cook. We cook, even with the meat and you know what I mean?
Yeah, our favourite, or at least my favourite, is the Sicilian way, which is a little bit of garlic and a little bit of anchovy, and then you throw in and it steams cook in olive oil.
Oh, lovely.
Flavoured with anchovy and garlic.
Now, Nick, tell me something that your mum used to cook that is a typical Samarkese dish. Like, I don't know if patana e micola, my mum used to cook all the time.
Lentils.
Yeah. Mamba, because Mamba, they call a the meal,
Peasant meal.
Chickpeas with the pasta, patata with the pasta, melanzane with the pasta, miccoli, so lentils with the pasta,
Yes.
everything. Greens, lots of greens. We used to get them in the park. Like we know a lot of variety of wild greens in the farm.
And in actual fact, one of our family's favourite, which is loved by most of our kids, all of our kids actually, is the mixed greens, which I added to a meat broth, and they have the greens are parboiled, drained, and a mixture of egg and cheese is added to them. And that mix then goes into the broth and the meat, and
Right. Wow.
it becomes a whole dish in one with the eggs.
My dad used to cook up liforge.
Ifogi.
Yeah, which I hated even the smell of them. I just didn't like them. All right, so he'd boil these things he called liforge. All right, leaves basically. And he'd boil them and then put a bit of garlic on it, put a bit of olive oil on it, and he would be in heaven. I used to see him eat and think, how could he eat that stuff?
Have you tried it at all as an adult?
No, it's it's too bitter for me, I think.
Oh, no, it depends on the greens.
Ton, I got to say, they're the best thing you can eat.
Yes, well, that's why he lived to 94 and he smoked from the age of 8. That's why. All right, Zena and Nick, it has been an absolute pleasure talking to you guys. I hope we can talk again next week at this time. If you can't, for any reason, you let me know, and I'm happy to maybe move it over to the next week. I'm glad I've caught up. I used to hear all the time about these guys on Instagram, and they're doing this and they're doing that. And Nick, I don't know if I told you, but when I hear you speak, you remind me of my mum's cousin, who came out to Australia at the age of 12, and he went to Leeton in 1954, and he told me he had his first glass of beer in Leeton. Michael Acadia was his name, Acadia, and I think because he came out at a similar age, your voice and your accent if I close my eyes, you're exactly the same.
Yeah.
There's a lot of followers that say that of Nick. They remind him, Nick reminds them of either family or an uncle or father, and I think that's why they listen, actually. I'm not sure. But.
Well, I think the other thing is you guys are authentic. You say things the way they are, and you live a really beautiful life full of happiness and cheer and family and good food. All of the good things in life are represented in you too. So it's an honour to have you guys come on my program.
Thank you so much.
Thank
Tony.
you, Tom. Thank you so much.
Thank you. We'll look forward to next week. All being
Yes.
well.
Ciao, ciao.
Ciao.
That's Nick and Zena Rendina, although here in Australia we'd say Rendina, but we're going to say it correctly. It's Rendina. Signori...
Insomma, non sono a Melbourne, non ci possono portare le bontà.
No, there's nothing in it for you. I capito. You're only interested if there's something in it for you. One day they will come. When they come, I bet you they'll bring a whole trailer load of stuff. That's the sort of people that they are. Let's take it. But we're going to play some of your music or not? Questa è tua musica? Why don't you play your own music?
Ho trovato un po' di roba.
All right, okay. We'll be back. Oh, welcome back. Drive Australia Wide is the program. We're broadcasting on Il Globo TV, on Tardio Unleashed on YouTube and on Rete Italia Radio through the app and through FM stations in Shepparton, Daniele Dovi, Shepparton, where else?
Shepparton, Colac,
she's on a multi
Swan Hill, and Albury and Wodonga.
There are a lot of cows in Colac. You watch now. You keep an eye on this.
I've been in Colac.
You keep an eye on this. Mm-hmm. The milk that the cows will produce in Colac, now that they're listening to this show, will be beautiful. Rich. Fortissimo. Have we got our next guest?
Yes, it's ready for you.
He's there. Okay, this man here is a media professional. There he is. Well, he looks like he's in a resort somewhere. I know he's off to Italy tomorrow, but it looks like he's already arrived.
Buongiorno Tony, come stai?
Roberto Gilbert, io sto bene, tu come stai?
Va bene, molto bene, Tony.
Mi fa tanto piacere a vederti.
Okay, Tony, what I'm about to say is può parlare più lentamente, per favore, because my Italian is not as good as yours. However, in about 5 weeks' time...
It'll be better.
I'm hoping that'll change.
I think it probably will. Now, Rob Gilbert, let's talk about you. The reason we're talking to you, by the way, is because you're going to Italy tomorrow with your wife, who's Italian. You're not Italian. And you're going to go all over the place. And while you're over there, we are going to cross live to see what the Gilberts are up to, where they've been, who they've met, photographs they've taken, and what they've seen. But before we get to that, I want to know a little bit about you, because you come from a very interesting family. Your family is all boys and quite a few boys, and most of them, like
Una
you,
sorella.
are in... Oh, you got a sorellina?
Sì. Monica, my sister.
Monica. But most of your brothers are in the media, and some people would know who they are.
Well, they would. So let's say half of my brothers. So I've got 4 brothers. The older 2, Bill and Pat, are not in the media. But the 2 that some of our listeners might be familiar with are Tim, who had 23 years at 9. He was on the Today Show for about 5 of those years, and also spent 7 years with what was then known as Sky News. Largely as a sports reporter, and Kieran, who is the chief political anchor with what's now known as News 24 for Sky News prior to that for, I think, about the past 20 years. And we've got others littered about. My older son Thomas is doing some work with Eddie Maguire's company, producing the AFL show in Melbourne, Footy Classified. My niece is in charge of social media with the Daily Telegraph in Sydney. So we're a pretty media-focused family, Tony.
Yeah, now how did that come about? Was that because of mum and dad or just you guys were interested?
Well, I think I would give credit to Tim for the most part. He was always determined to get involved in the media. But if you go way, way back when, I think my mum might have to take some credit for that. Now, she always used to have a little red transistor radio in the western suburbs of Sydney at Guildford, listening to Gary O'Callaghan, breakfast radio every morning as we grew up. But she took Tim and I to Romper Room when we were kids. Do you remember Romper Room?
I remember it very well, Romper Room. Of course I do, absolutely.
Yeah. So I think that was probably our first media exposure. And maybe we got a taste for it back then. I still remember Timmy famously asking Miss Christina for a second biscuit, and she said, "No, Timmy, just one each."
So what's the age difference between you guys, and what's the pecking order?
So Mum had 5 under 5. So I'm the third. So Bill, the oldest, Pat the second, me. Then Timmy's the fourth, then Monica, our sister, and then Kieran was about 7 years later. He was a happy surprise, the baby of the family, but he's 50 now.
Right. So Kieran is the end of the litter. And did you guys look after him because of that, or was there like competition between the boys?
Well, he seemed to distill all of the best of all of us. So we loved him like the little brother that he was back then. But remember, we were teenagers, and when we were playing backyard cricket, all you wanted to do was bat, Tony. So we would bowl fast at him to get him out, and then make him bowl at us until he got tired. But do you know what that turned him into? An elite cricketer. Look, I don't mind saying this, that he played second grade for Western Suburbs in Sydney when he was 15 years old and took 5 for 17. He represented all of the levels of cricket, but just at a particular age, he injured his shoulder playing MCS Rugby League for Fairfield Patrician Brothers, and he lost a bit of the pace in that bowling arm, turned himself into an all-rounder, played in premierships with Mossman with the Lee brothers, and still to this day he is a star of the journalists, the politicians cricket match every year in Canberra. And that's actually how he became known to John Howard when he first moved to Canberra, when he played for the journalists, and he was a bit of a dark horse back then. And the Prime Minister, as he was at the end after Kieran had scored, I think, a half century, he said, "You play a bit of cricket, do you, Kieran?" And that struck up a relationship that stayed throughout John Howard's premiership.
Well, John Howard, we know, is a cricket tragic. Of course, who could forget the ball that he bowled? I think it was in Afghanistan or somewhere, which landed at his feet in front of all of the journalists.
Oh,
so he played first grade, Kieran, did he?
I think the highest level he played in grade cricket in Sydney was second grade,
right?
And then played at a sub-county level in England for a while there. Right. Yeah.
Well, let's talk about your trip to Italy. You are Irish, I guess you would be. Is that correct? Are you Irish or English?
Well, on Dad's side, yes. My grandmother was from Irish stock, my grandfather English, but Mum was born in the mountains of Lebanon. She came to Australia in 1939. So our parents were pioneers in terms of multicultural marriages back then. And so I'm half Lebanese, half Aussie. And my wife, Sandra, who I've spoken to you about many times, Tony, she's the Italian. So her mum is from Calabria, from a town called Sinopoli, and her dad is from the Paese called Paese, just outside of Treviso.
Paese in Paese.
That's it, the Paese, mate. So name. And Sandra was, she grew up in the northeast of Victoria, so our Victorian listeners will be well familiar with the Italian diaspora that comes from that
tobacco farm.
Yeah, Myrtleford, Porpunca, on a tobacco farm. Her father Luigi, her mother Maria. Can't get more Italian than that. She couldn't speak English when she went to school, and she rediscovered her, I don't know that she ever lost it, but her passion for Italy 3 years ago when she went on a trip with our older son Thomas, her brother Gino, and her sister Jessica. This is a person who hated flying, but she's the self-declared best on-ground traveller from that trip. And ever since then, Tony, she's not stopped talking about going back. So it was a toss of the coin. I was thinking of going to the World Cup this year, Tony, but in the interests of keeping a happy marriage, I conceded that going to Italy was probably the better choice.
Well, it wasn't that difficult a decision, I would have thought, Rob. It was a win-win situation, I think. And it's interesting to know that 3 years ago she rediscovered this. I think you need to go to Italy to do that. Once you go over there and you see what that country has to offer, you just realise how powerful its place in the world is and has been. And I think Italy's best days still are ahead of it as far as tourism.
It's a pretty big statement. I mean, I'm a somewhat of an amateur historian going back to the late Republic, early Empire. So
the Roman Empire
does have
you know all about that.
Of a history. Well, I think we talked about this the other day. I got into the weeds of that period through Colleen McCulloch, through a series of books that she wrote called The Masters of Rome, and I'd encourage anybody who's got a passion for that period of history. So Colleen McCulloch was known as an author of fictional books, but she was also an intellectual and expert on ancient Rome, and so these books are written through the eyes of Gaius Marius, Lucius Cornelius Sulla, and obviously Julius Caesar, Pompey the Great, Caesar Augustus, Mark Antony, Cleopatra, and that period is documented in a narrative of storytelling. So it sort of sent me down the rabbit hole of textbooks and podcasts and documentaries. So I really got interested through then, and you talk about the history, and I agree the best years may well be ahead, but there's some pretty good ones behind it, and there's also that high Renaissance period of Michelangelo. I've read The Agony and the Ecstasy a couple of times, watched that movie with Charlton Heston when we were kids, and so I'm also fascinated with his career as a sculptor as much as a painter and an architect as well.
Rob, have you been to Italy before, or is this going to be your very first time?
No, Tony. So I was a flight attendant with Qantas when I was younger. So when we were married, this is our first trip together in 35 years. So we travelled to Italy in 1991 and drove 13,000 kilometres from top to bottom. And I found my GPS, Tony, from back then. And you know what it was?
Yes.
It was a Philips map, and we did what many people did. We just had the map on our laps and had a cassette tape of the best of Frank Sinatra and listened to it over and over again. So this is somewhat of a homecoming for us.
Yeah, well, so you did that with your brothers, or who did you do that trip?
No, this was just the two of us. Sandra and I, we were married. It was our honeymoon.
Oh, right. So.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Well, are you going to go back to your special spots that you went to in 1991 and you remember sitting here and standing there?
There'll be a few of those spots. Definitely, we spent quite a bit of time in Treviso and Paese, as I referred to, because her Zia Luciana and Zia Adelaide lived there, and a whole stack of cousins. So we stayed with them at the time for, I think it was about 3 weeks, and we did lots of day trips to places like Cornigliano, Bassano del Grappa. We went to Marostica, Asolo, to as far as Verona, to Vicenza, Padua, lots of places, Trieste. We went as far. The Yugoslavian war was just about to break out, so we were going to cross over into the border, but we couldn't. So, and then there's so many other parts of Italy, whether from Venice, Florence. So I love going to Assisi. So we're spending some time. Do you want me to go through the itinerary roughly?
Well,
Tony?
give us an idea of where you're starting and how you're moving, and how long you're going for.
So we're going for 5 weeks. We take off at 5:15 a.m. tomorrow, and we land in Milan. We're staying only for a couple of nights in Milan. And I found some experiences that I really want to do, to take some deep dives into some of the places that we're going to. So we're doing the Duomo, climbing to the top of the Duomo and the museum as well on our day there. And a very good friend of mine who I play golf with in Melbourne, Filippo Nesci, he's given me some wonderful tips from his recent trip with his beautiful wife Julie, and so there's a couple of spots that we'll be visiting in Milan that he's recommended. Then we head on the train. Now I hear that there's a train strike that's going to crop up when we're there, which is probably no surprise in Italy, Tony. So we might have to
get ready
pivot a
for
few
anything,
times.
Rob. Anything could happen.
Exactly.
It's but that adds to the nature and the texture and the fun of the place.
Yeah, and so that's the thing. We're not going to get upset. We'll just work out a solution. So hopefully we'll catch the train after a couple of nights in Milan to Venice, and we'll catch a water taxi down the Grand Canal to our hotel, which is about 800 metres off and just behind the Piazza San Marco. So we're staying in this old palace for 4 nights in Venice. Then we head to Treviso to visit the family. We're staying there for a couple of nights. Then down to Bologna. We're doing a walking food tour of Bologna that we're really looking forward to. Then we head over to Santa Margherita, which is in the general proximity of the Cinque Terre, just across the way from Portofino, and so we'll stay there and we'll do the Cinque Terre while we're there. And then once we're done there for about 3 nights, we head to Florence. We've got a lovely hotel booked in the city, about I think it's 200 metres from the Duomo. You can see that from there. And then we'll do all of the usual haunts in Venice, from the Accademia to the Uffizi. But we're doing a little Cinquecento drive out of town as well. That'll be fun. And then we stay in Tuscany for about 4 nights, then head down to Rome for a week, and then fly down to Sicily. Again, my friend Filippo, he recommended, and to any of our listeners, viewers, Tony, I'd recommend watching on Netflix Il Gatto Pardo, which is the story of the Salinas royal family from the Bourbon heritage at the time of Italian unification, when Garibaldi effectively invaded the island. So we watched that in preparation, and so we'll stay in Palermo. We're going to see, Tony, how about this? Now, I know you and your son Damien are big fans of The Godfather.
Well, I know you are too. You know more about it than I do. And there's a magnificent Godfather tour which you can do, and I know you're going to do that. So, tell me about that.
We're doing that on my birthday. But before we get there, the night we arrive in Palermo, we're going to the Teatro Massimo, and we're going to see Cavalleria Rusticana. Now, I don't claim to be any great opera fan, but that is the opera that plays in that very same theatre in The Godfather 3. So just by random chance, the night we arrive, it's the last night of the season. So we managed to get tickets in a box for €105 each, and we're going to see that. And then we'll discover Palermo and its surrounds. We'll head through the northeast coast, I think I'm right in saying, to Cefalù.
Cefalù, yeah, well, right up the top. Yeah, right up the top.
Yeah, and then we head to Taormina, and that's and I turn 60 when we're in Taormina, and then on that day we're doing the Godfather tour that you mentioned.
Yes,
and
Savoca, you go to the bar yes. Where Michael proposed to the father.
Bar Vitelli.
Yeah, that's right. Bar Vitelli. Nice bloke owns that too, actually. He's a very nice bloke. Rob, sounds like you're going to have a wonderful trip, and it'll bring back so many memories of 35 years earlier.
I'm really looking forward to it, Tony. And as you know as well, we have 2 boys. Thomas is 25. I mentioned him earlier with the footy, but Alexander, our youngest son, he lives with cerebral palsy. He's 21 years old, and Sandra and I, we've been devoted to him, and we love him as much as life itself. But we haven't travelled in all of that time, and so we've now got a real army of friends, family, support workers who are going to take care of Alexander, and we're going to take this break for ourselves and just enjoy some time.
Well, you guys have put in some hard yards, and you've worked really hard, and enjoy the fruits of the labour that you've done over these many years. You deserve it and more. And as you travel around, Rob, can you see if you can scout around interesting people that we can cross to like this, because this is what I love about doing this show. We now have the technology to go all over the world and to see each other and to bring the outside world, particularly the Italian world, to lounge rooms all over Australia, specifically Italian stories. I'm really looking
Tony,
forward to
I will
that.
consider that part of my mission. That I'm a bit of a media junkie from this conversation and from yours and my long history working together at 3AW, and I'll ferret out some of these stories and some of these interesting people for you, Tony, and hopefully they can become guests of yours as well.
And we'll be in touch by email, and we will do this maybe once a week, depending upon your commitments and tours that you're going on, but hopefully we'll touch base once a week during your 5 weeks away. Rob Gilbert, thank you very much for talking to us.
Arrivederci, Tony.
Ciao, ciao. Buon viaggio. Have a safe trip.
Grazie.
See you when you get back. That is media professional Rob Gilbert, and what a big family he comes from. Media family. I wish I was going with them, but
qualche volta cadi e rido per 7 giorni.
What?
I said,
speak slowly.
Maybe one day you going down, you falling down, and I'm
looking up at the TV. I get a sore neck. I'm sitting back here looking up at the TV. That's what's going on. That's why. Let's take a break, Daniele. When
Perché
we come
breaki?
back, we've got nothing to do, but we'll
Non c'è più nessuno.
No, we've got nobody else, but we'll have a chat, you and me, I think. It's about time we had a good heart-to-heart chat.
Vabbè, se vuoi proprio la musica, eccola.
I think we are back because I can see myself up there on the TV. I'm with Daniele Magarelli. Look, if somebody wants to ring up now, you can ring up 1300 363 900. No pressure. If you want to ring up and say hello and tell us how you're going, 1300 363 900. What are you playing there?
You like background music?
Is it? It sounds like we're in a church.
No.
Yes, you want to do your confession? I'm happy to take your confession.
I have nothing to confess.
Bless me, Father, for I have sinned.
Ma sei diventato prevete.
It is 50 years since my last confession. I'll bless you as well.
Se tu confessi tutto T'arrestano. Oh,
Now-
what are you doing tonight?
Well, what am I doing? I'm going to tell you some stories here. Tu sai,
Okay.
1986,
Yes.
McDonald's,
Yes.
they opened a store near the Spanish Steps. Trouble. Because the Italians were in uproar and there was a big protest. Chefs and activists set up tables outside and handed out free plates of spaghetti. Italian food, they said, is culture, not just cuisine. The protest outside McDonald's drew crowds, media attention, and sparked a national debate about food identity. McDonald's stayed, but the demonstration became a landmark movement in Italy's defence of gastronomic heritage. I think there's still a McDonald's near there. C'è un McDonald's vicino là.
Dove?
The Spanish Steps.
Sì, c'è.
Eh?
C'è.
In Genova ci sono McDonald's.
Due.
Due?
E c'è anche Burger King.
Burger King. Can you say that again? Burger.
Burger.
No
burger. Burger King.
Our telephone number 1300 363 900 if you want to ring up. If you've been listening on or watching us on YouTube, here's your chance to ring up. Now, have people been ringing up during the program? Because some they have?
C'è la linea aperta.
Yeah, well, somebody told me they tried to ring before and they couldn't get through.
Oggi no.
No?
Today, no.
1300 363 900. Can I tell you about McDonald's? There was a McDonald's near us. Never a McDonald's of San Marco in Lamas, mai.
Vabbè, ma San Marco in Lamas siete in 4.
Hey, there's 12,000, there's 15,000 persone là.
E quando tornano in Australia?
14,000
tornano in Australia.
Sono vecchio. Sono più di 90 anni. But at San Giovanni Rotondo, the next town, they opened there and they had to close it down.
Why?
Because no one went there. Nessuno andava a McDonald's.
You going to McDonald's sometimes?
No, ogni tanto.
Anch'io, ogni tanto. Quando non ci voglia di fare niente mi fermo.
Ogni tanto sono in macchina e penso...
Alle chips.
Sì, compro un po' di chip. E poi penso, sono troppo salate. Non li posso mangiare.
A volte non c'è. Sometimes there's too much salt, sometimes there are nothing.
And do you complain when there's no salt?
No, I try to complain one times because I sometimes ask water.
Yeah, but they charge you for water.
And they charge an extra 65 cents for the water.
Yeah, of course.
I don't want Coke or something.
Yeah, you want water.
Yeah, they charge something.
Yeah, well, that's it. Years ago, you could never buy water. L'acqua in Italia. When did they start selling water in Italy?
I don't remember.
Perché io mi ricordo, 1988, in 1988, we went to Italy, and for the first time I saw people selling acqua minerale.
Yeah.
I thought, then it's like buying air. Who would buy water? No one bought water. Now it's a big industry with water.
Anche qua.
Acqua frizzante c'era star sempre in Italia. There would have been. Yeah.
There are different type.
Yeah. Have you got a particular mineral water that you like the best?
In Italy?
Well, here and in Italy.
But here I buy normal water, Coles, Woolworths, Aldi.
Just water senza frizzante?
No, senza frizzante.
Yeah. In Italia?
In Italia prendo quando vado in holiday. When I go on holiday, I take the water for clean the leaves. Si dice leaves?
Yeah, keep going. They clean the leaves, yeah. What do you mean clean the leaves? What leaves?
E acqua per pulire il fegato.
The liver.
Mm-hmm. Liver, not liver.
Hang on. Daniele buys water to clean the liver.
Mm-hmm.
Is there such a thing, or is that what they say?
No, it's working. È molto solforoso.
Ma i dottori dicono così. The doctors say this? Is it a medical fact?
No,
or is it just that they say
I know,
this?
because when I'm in Italy, I'm eating more than this, than here.
Yeah.
But non ingrasso.
Well, that's because you're walking. You're
Walking,
doing a lot of exercise.
Swimming, this year no, but normally swimming a lot.
You go to the beach to swim in Genoa.
Mm-mm.
You got a particular beach near your house, haven't you? Near.
Yeah, there are one in 4K from the house.
And is the water clean?
Yeah, all water in Genoa without the port is all good.
But in the port, it's not clean because
No.
there's boats and stuff like that. How far away from the port are you?
6K, 7K.
Well, that's still pretty close.
Yeah, but because Genoa is all.
Yeah. All right, let's.
What are you doing tonight?
Well, what do you mean? What am I doing today? I'm going to go home.
And?
Oh, work out something. I haven't got anything planned.
And you're watching TV?
No, I'm not going to watch TV.
You listen to the radio?
No, I'm not going to listen to the radio.
You sleeping?
No, I'm not going to sleep. I'll probably go for a walk because I haven't been for a walk all day.
Ah, good.
Good
for your.
Yeah, no worry. That's going to be under control very soon. The other day ho fatto 20.000 passi.
Okay, perfect.
20,000 steps.
Io stasera no, mangio.
Questa sera cosa mangi?
And I don't know because I'm go to the club.
Last night you went out, didn't you?
Last night I'm in Altona.
Yeah. And tonight?
Casa d'Abruzzo Club.
In Epping?
Yes.
Will you say hello to Fernando up there? Because I need to talk to him, actually. Mettiamo una canzone, Daniele, e poi ritorniamo to say goodbye on this day.
Aspetta, perché io avevo già preparato la sigla e devo andare a cercare quelle che non blocca tutto. Non puoi canta tu? Singing in the rain.
Red, red wine.
You like UB40?
I like UB40.
Ah, io pensavo che tu ascoltavi solo musica di
quello
Jim
non è,
Barnes.
quello è Neil Diamond.
Pensavo che ascoltavi solo Jimmy Barnes.
Who, Jimmy Barnes?
Il cantante.
Jimmy Barnes.
I like a lot.
You like Jimmy Barnes? I interviewed him once. Ho fatto intervista. I was in Alice Springs, 8HA, at a disabato. It was a Saturday afternoon. The doorbell of the radio station rings. In the middle of nowhere. La stazione era in deserto.
In deserto.
Okay. I opened the door, and who was it? Jimmy Barnes.
Oh.
He said, someone organised an interview. I said, you better come in. So we sat down, and we spoke for about half an hour. And then he gave me 2 tickets to go and see his show at the Memorial Club in Alice Springs. Cold Chisel. Yeah, they got some good songs, actually.
I like it.
Yes, they had, back in those days, in 1982, a song called Forever Now had just come out.
I like discover a lot of good Australian music.
Yeah, what about Dragon?
Dragon, no.
Mason did it, the Dragon?
No.
Skyhooks.
Skyhooks, no.
Skyhooks? You sit down with me one day and I'll tell you all about the history of Australian music.
Yes. You know, in the 1980 Midnight Oil.
Midnight Oil, yeah.
It's a number 1 in Italy. Arrived number 1.
I'll tell you.
In excess.
Not in excess.
No sex.
In excess.
In excess.
Not in excess. Not the gender così. You know that many years ago, I used to go out with this girl, Julie, and she lived in Sydney. She lived in a street called Kangaroo Street, Manly.
Manly.
Can you get a more Australian street than Kangaroo Street, Manly? And in the house next door, you know who was living? Midnight Oil. They lived in the house next door.
But who is the Midnight Oil singer going to Parliament?
Yes, he was a senator. Peter Garrett.
Yeah.
He dances, dance like him, go on. Ballo come balla lui.
Come parla?
Lui balla. It's like he's got an electric shock.
Na 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 na.
But yeah, there's some good Australia, good bands. Who died recently? Johnny Young. I used to work with Johnny Young on radio, and he was one of the early ones to start writing songs that became hits in the 60s here in Australia. Johnny Young, Normie Rowe, Ronnie Burns, Russell Morris, all of those guys. They were pioneers of the Australian music industry. And now we've got Kylie Minogue, we've got, INXX.
INXX. Ice House.
You like Nick Cave too, don't you?
Yeah, a lot.
How come Italians like Nick Cave?
He's popular in Italy, Nick Cave.
He is popular.
You know Nick Cave, in Italy we call Nicola Caverna.
You know where he was born? In Warrnambool.
Warrnambool?
Yeah, he came from Warrnambool. Who else did you listen to in Italy?
But there are another band, now forget the name. When I see they play at the
Men at
Palais, no, it's more niche music.
Yep.
I'm going to watching in Palais in St Kilda.
Sorry, you're going
as a husband and wife.
You're going to the Palace Theatre?
Yes.
To watch a husband and wife?
Yes, they playing ambient music.
Ambient music?
Yes.
Are they famous? No.
Yeah, in Europe, yes, because they have a lot of become famous when they move from Australia to England.
Yeah.
And they become famous.
Well, I don't know of any.
Now
husband and wife, are they?
Yes.
Oh, I've never heard of that. What else have you heard of? Let me see. Did you hear of Men at Work?
Yes.
In Italia?
Sì. Sono andati in the... Come si dice?
Where did you go?
Yeah, at the radio.
Yeah.
Is playing in the first 3 position. Men at Work.
In the hits parade?
Yes.
It got to number 3?
Yes.
What song?
In excess,
Quella canzone?
I think the most popular. Quella...
Well, Down Under?
Yes. Adesso è stata...
That's it. Down Under? Yeah. Well, that was famous
and the people
in Australia.
From Down Under.
In 1980...
she watching me and smile and giving me a Vegemite
sandwich. Yeah, I can see how that would have tickled your fancy. Daniele Magarelli, grazie per il tuo aiuto oggi.
Prego.
Abbiamo fatto
I have to go.
Un po' di lavoro.
I have to go.
Where do you have to go?
Devo andare a mangiare.
I'll wait for you. Ciao a tutti.
Ciao.
Bye bye.